Welcome to This Week in Coworking, where industry leaders get succinct, actionable insights. Here are your hosts, Hector Kolonas and Mike LaRosa.
Well, we're super excited to have Sam Rosen, CEO and founder of Deskpass, and we've also got Will Sandford, who heads up Coworking Initiatives at Yardi. They're with us today talking about the news. If you were under a rock this week, there were two big news stories. These gentlemen are involved in one of them. So thanks so much for taking the time out of your schedule. I know it's probably been very hectic this week. We're excited to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to talk to you guys.
Yeah, great to be here.
Awesome. So for those of you, like I said, that might not be aware, the news was announced yesterday that Yardi has acquired both Hubble, based out of the UK, and Deskpass, born and raised in good old Chicago. And so a lot of folks are very curious to see kind of what this means for the industry. Yardi has a form of a booking aggregator via Coworking Cafe. So this is now three different kind of players that are now under the Yardi umbrella, combined with all the other softwares that they've built out on their own and acquired, such as, Yardi Cube, which used to be way back in the day. I'm dating myself, Sam, One Systems. So can't believe we've been around that long to remember that. So Hector, I believe that you've got some questions or whatnot that you've been dying to ask. So I'll hand it off to you first and let you take it away.
Absolutely. But before I get into the questions, just a massive congrats to Sam and the Deskpass team, and obviously to Yardi for coming in and making this deal happen. Mike, as you said, we've been in this industry for quite a while, so finally seeing more of these partnerships become more formalized, these marriages becoming kind of set in stone. Just congrats to everyone involved. Super excited to be able to share that story and to be a tiny part of your storytelling here.
Not so tiny. Thank you. No, it's super, super exciting. I think all this gray, which you can't really see today, but there's a lot in there. It all comes from like the last, I don't know, for at least me actually, and in practice, and it's even cooler to be involved personally.
That's awesome. So I'm going to take a bit of a step back, and I'm going to give you each of a question. It's the same question from different sides of the same coin. Sam, what does this mean for you and the Deskpass community? What drove you to this decision? And from Yardi, what's the play here? I'll start with you, Sammy.
Yeah, I think we've been at this for quite a while, and we've seen how the industry has sort of evolved and progressed, and more players have come into the game. And over the years as Deskpass, we've had plenty of opportunities and folks kind of knocking at our door, different suitors, and you name them. We've probably talked pretty intimately with them, and in the last year, we've started to cultivate a relationship with Yardi over the last couple of years. And really over the last year, it got a little more serious. And, before even the big kind of WeWork announcement and Vast announcement, our team got to know really what the vision was at Yardi, and got to know Anand and the really, I'm new here. I think it's my 27th day technically as a Yardi employee, but like the team is world class. Really, really phenomenal. And Anand, who's got, he's got 40 years on me. The first time I sat down in a room with him one-on-one, and Will was there, and he laid out the vision of what he saw for the industry. From my perspective, I was like, that's my vision. Like, that's our vision. That is the vision. And Yardi is a really remarkable organization in sort of how it's structured, how it's built, how it's capitalized. They have a unique ability to think long-term, make thoughtful decisions that aren't driven by like quarterly earnings and, investors. And they have a lot of the cards. I believe that the company has from the ERP backbone system in Cube, which, there's so much opportunity there between Coworking Cafe and the 21,000 listings that they've already put together on the platform. And then some other really interesting components, and obviously the relationship with WeWork, it was just like, this is I believe that these guys are going to really be the player that puts this all together. And when we had the opportunity to join the team and be part of that, it was kind of a no-brainer.
I love that. And so from Will, from the Yardi side, there are so many aggregators right now. What was, other than, Sammy being the awesome guy that he is, why DeskPass and why now?
Yeah, good question. Before I go into that, I'll reiterate like the massive congratulations to Sam, because very few people know what it takes to have a vision, execute on it, sustain it for that long, and then find a strategic and beneficial exit like that. It's massive, and it deserves a lot of congratulations. Um, from the from the Yardi side, I mean, Sam kind of said it very well, right? Like I was there when we had that meeting with Anat, months ago, and I think a lot of us across the industry, I'm sure yourself as well, Hector, have this like unified vision, and that's one of the cool things about our industry. We all are kind of going in the same direction, and it's a collaborative outcome that benefits all of us and makes this a bigger segment. We really believe in that at Yardi, but I guess to the question of like why DeskPass, I think they're doing like a couple of things that, frankly, they're doing better than anyone else. You know, their engagement with that corporate customer, which Yardi traditionally on and definitely on the co-working side does not have a relationship with. I think that's a critical part to the future for co-working, right? Like meaningfully getting large corporates engaged in flexible and hybrid work into our ecosystem. DeskPass has done like an unparalleled job at building out that relationship, and frankly knows them better than anyone. So that's just a core competency that like is, it can be learned, but like they've really earned it through, just like Sam said, like a decade of them going out there, working with these people and owning it. So like just bringing that into our DNA is critical to like how we see the future. Second is like Yardi, we're a big organization. Like Sam said, we have like a steadfast strategy for the future, and we will stick to that for years to come. But we're an incremental innovator. And we need to partner with radical innovators like DeskPass, because like they have just been moving so much faster, testing so many more things, learning so much more about the market, that we don't move that fast. We move fast, but not DeskPass speed. So like the merger of an incremental innovator with a radical innovator during a consolidation part of the cycle, I think is a really good partnership. I guess lastly, I'd say that like, yes, there's a lot of aggregators out there. There's a lot of marketplaces. It's been an area where, I think simply put, there's been a lower barrier to entry on the supply side. So most people can say, hey, we got this inventory, let's bring people into it. What's really hard is the demand side. Are you actually serving a customer need? And that's where DeskPass was doing really, really well. And it's one thing that we want to bring into the DNA of Yardi and Co-working Cafe, because, again, they've earned a lot of customers and learnings that we do not have. So I think it's a great marriage. That doesn't really give you the whole vision, but I'm sure we'll get into it here in the conversation.
Absolutely. I think you brought up another topic that I really want to dig a bit more into. Now, I know the terms weren't disclosed, so I'm not going to be kind of trying to pry that out of you guys. It's not what we're here to do. But what does the deal actually look like from a practicality perspective? Like, is Co-working Cafe going to become DeskPass? Is DeskPass going to be merged into that? Is there going to be a deduplication of content? Geek out with me. Like, what is that going to look like? Is there going to be 3 platforms, 2 platforms, Co-working Cafe and DeskPass, or is it going to be one new product? What can you tell us about that?
What do you
Sam,
want?
You want to?
I think, there's a couple of things that I think are really interesting. So one is, Yardi's a big company, but they've moved really fast. I mean, it's been really inspiring since we've gotten here just to see how thoughtful and fast they move. But so far I found that Yardi's an extremely collaborative company. And even though they have a specific relationship now, with DeskPass and WeWork, like I think they're very open and receptive to being part of the industry and being a collaborative part of the industry. there's a lot of really great pieces here, and I believe that the acquisition of DeskPass and Hubble, which I'm sure you'll dig into more in other podcasts, but like unbelievable company, great leadership. When we've started to learn what they've done under the hood, it's like, oh, wow, there's so much magic there, and I think that we're in the phase of really trying to understand what are the best ways to put these pieces together to drive the most value to the industry, to our customers. How that exactly is organized, we're already moving, I think, quite quickly to figure it out, but it's not set in stone, and I think it's it's pliable in that it will evolve and change over time. But I think in the interim, and please, Will is far more tenured than I. Um, you're going to get the same great service. You're going to get the same great brands. You're going to get, I mean, Mike and I have collaborated together. Like, we've always been so under resourced, and that is not a Yardi problem. It's almost the opposite problem, right?
Yeah.
So you'll see more resources, more spaces, more collaboration, better support. All that stuff is coming, and exactly how those pieces get put together, I think we're figuring it out, and we're going to figure it out quickly. What do you think?
Yeah, I double down on one thing you said there. It's like investing additional resources into the common parts of our businesses that are like critical for the future. And the surface or the front end delivery of that, whether it's a DeskPass website, a co-working cafe website, we'll work on those things over time, right? It's too early to tell. But a couple of things are like really clear. Like one, DeskPass's existing customers are going to continue to be served in the exact same manner, and hopefully with more resources going forward. Their existing operator relationships, right? We all work with the same co-working partners. We're going to continue to treat them as like the critical part of this ecosystem that they are. So, we don't know what the future will look like. Yardi has a history of like multi-homing visitors based on different particular audiences and experiences across our commercial sites. And that may or may not be the case here in the future. But I think one commonality is like that backbone that sits behind us. We had and it was really fun, the luxury last week of sitting in a room for 2 days straight with Sam and his team and Tushar and the Hubble team, and like really going into the guts of these products. And like there's some really cool stuff that each of these companies have built. But I think one common thing that we're all investing in is like that backbone behind the scenes of like really high quality, accessible inventory that spans geographic and product bounds. So, I hope that creating that universal layer of, a source of truth for inventory across our industry increases accessibility and experience, whether you're going through Deskpass.com, HubbleHQ.com, or Co-working Cafe, or something else in the future. We don't know. But, if that backbone is there, then the customer wins, and how we deliver that, that's a little bit of marketing.
I love that. And I totally getting now why Sammy said that was all of our vision, because that backbone has been missing for so long. It does bring up another question. I'm going to keep geeking out. Mike, stop me at any point if I get too technical here. But is there any limitation on that backbone? Because we know from the previous conversation that we had with Anam and the folks from WeWork and Vast that the backbone is being built very closely with the Yardi Cube product. What happens to the folks who are not on Yardi Cube? Can they expect any less support or more support for that backbone, from that backbone, if they're using a competing product? I'm totally putting you on the spot here.
No, I mean, look, with our co-working cafe product, we have always said that we will work equally with Cube customers as well as customers using our competitors, because self-standing, we want co-working cafe and the inventory infrastructure behind that to be as robust as possible. We will continue to do that. I think in the partnerships with DeskPass and Hubble, we inherit a number of their really strong technical as well as commercial relationships with providers in the market. And we'll continue to double down on those. There's never going to be a world in which 100% of the market sits on a single database. You know that very well, Hector. But I think we will continue to build more tools that enable people who, for whatever reason, are using a different system or no system at all to participate in marketplaces and leverage them as marketing channels. So I think, and that's another area where DeskPass and Hubble have done really well, like doing a lot to serve the supply side of the market, frankly, with much less resources than Yardi's has. Like, they've got super creative, and that's where they're radical innovators to make sure that experience is easy, connected, well-serviced. So, I mean, in short, yeah, we're going to continue to work, and we're not going to force. We would love everyone to come over to Yardi Cube. Quick plug. It's a fantastic system. But if you're not, we still want to build a marketplace that serves that user. Sammy?
I mean, I think you said it as well as could be. I mean, the only other thing I'd add is I think, honestly, this acquisition, as much as it is about the brands and the technology that DeskPass and Hubble have built, it's about the teams. It's about the people behind them that have been in the industry, that have been building. Myself, our team, we're operators. We come from that world. I still run 2 co-working spaces, right? Like, and neither of them are on Cube yet. Well, sorry. But I will tell you that that's our DNA. And I think we're always going to look at like the operator first and the workspace first. How do we add value there? I think that, to me, the other than that integration, and that's a great way to do it, it's that once you're on the Yardi backbone, irrespective of Cube, you're going to be syndicated and you're going to have lots of market opportunities through these properties that are going to have a lot of resources and a lot of investment put behind them. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So what I'm hearing is, nothing's really changed day-to-day operations or for customers of both Hubble and DeskPass, and it sounds like you all have this great opportunity now to kind of learn from each other, collaborate, and sounds to me like you dive into areas as they're identified to work towards.
Yeah, and I'll say both Hubble and DeskPass over the last few days has reached out to, broadcast this, but reached out to our customers, reached out to our workspaces, and they're all genuinely, I think, very excited about the opportunity and what we bring to the table. The number one question we get that's of concern, which is a very notable and understandable concern. It was the same thing that happened when DeskPass got in bed with Industrious, which is, how can I trust you? What's going to happen with my booking and reservation information? Is that going to be shared across these brands? And now with WeWork in the mix, and the answer to that is no, like absolutely not. And one thing I will say about the Yardi crew, and again, Will has more domain experience. The like moral and ethical compass that this company has in the way they treat their employees, which has like the most insane retention, but like how they treat their customers, how they treat their partners, I've never seen it before. So, when you hear that, I think you have to believe it. And we never had an issue with that in the past, and I can't fathom that in the future.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Sam, because we were actually sitting next to each other when Anat gave that fireside chat at GWA, and he was very clear that there will never be any intentional sharing of data, right? And that he also reminded the audience that in the 25, 30 plus years of Yardi's history, there hadn't been any unintentional sharing of data either. So not only are you all working with a safe and secure system, but like I said, I mean, I've never seen anyone else get a standing ovation in an audience full of co-working operators. So, I think that we can most definitely, have some sense of relief. I think people are just more curious about that. And since you did bring it up, will you retain that live inventory on Industrious? Is there any changes with that, especially with their news? Any impact there?
No, I mean, the relationship between Yardi and Industrious predates the DeskPass Industrious relationship. I mean, Anand and Jamie and the Industrious team, they go way back. And I think, Anand and Yardi's vision is like, we're just pieces of a much broader, larger industry. And I think the reason they got involved with WeWork is because they wanted to see that be a success story and knew how important that was to the industry. So to me, all this means is more better, and again with the CBRE Industrious News, I think that also brings a whole lot of more opportunity and inventory in the future that'll be connected directly through the whole Yardi platform.
That's great.
That's awesome. So the one question I got a lot was, Co-working Cafe is a zero commission platform. It's kind of their go-to market. It's kind of what they're known for. Are we going to see different changes to the DeskPass business model? Are we going to see you becoming a zero commission platform?
So I can answer this one because I cleared it. So I think the co-working cafe ecosystem, there is there's this broad coalition of 21,000 spaces, I think the biggest repository of spaces that are cataloged online. And to your point, to get leads for free is part of the platform, and I think will continue to be part of the platform. Now, Coworking Cafe does make money, and there is a model that it makes money. So depending on how you are involved, if you're a kind of claimed profile, or it does make kind of a standard commission in the platform. I think generally speaking, what this means to the industry is, I think the DeskPass commissions are going to come down. I think you're going to see, just generally as expected, you're going to see pressure to bring down the take rate and the cut across the industry. And I think Yardi will help lead that.
Yeah, and I would say from the cafe side, I mean, again, it's kind of, we've always heralded this, leads are and always will be free. It's part of the broader value proposition that we try to bring to our customers outside of Co-working Cafe itself. But across, everything else that we do in deepening the quality of inventory that we can surface for our co-working operators, we kind of have a similar model, just different delivery than DeskPass. We're still performing on placement or booking fees. What we're really talking about is different ways to increase the top of funnel on the demand side. I think the question around, charging for leads and will that ever change in the future is less around DeskPass, who are getting people to, book to support hybrid and flexible work, and more around what is happening with the private suites business and the brokerages. That is the existential question for the leads business, as opposed to the bookings business. So I think it's a bit of a different one that, again, is going to continue to play out in the next couple of years.
And Hubble, I mean, that's I don't know how you felt about this, but in our meetings, with Hubble, Hubble has really done an unbelievable world-class job of doing this, especially in the UK. And that's more of this curated and very hands-on, concierge approach to helping people find workspaces long-term. And that people pay for that, and people are happy to pay for that. And I think you can imagine that you're going to see more of that in the Yardi DNA in the future.
That's awesome. And I do remember I was speaking to Mike on 2 episodes ago, whenever this drops, about the things that Hubble has been doing and the innovation that they've brought to the table. Having kind of started a company at the same time as them in the UK, seeing how Tushar and the team kind of built and evolved and adapted, and really are the only ones who successfully implemented fractional offices in the whole of Europe, right? Just fantastic innovation. So I'm really excited to catch up with him and the team when we can. I know that there's some big things happening, so we're not going to be able to get him on anytime soon right now, but as soon as we can, we'll dig into that a bit more. Is there anything that you wish that we had asked you about this? One thing that we kind of missed that you're Hector, there's something here. Mike, talk about this thing. What is it?
I'll throw that to Sam. I mean, there's really cool stuff that you guys have been working on, and you're now part of the Yardi family. Maybe I'll rephrase that as to Sam, what are you excited about in joining Yardi? If there's additional resources, where are you throwing them, and what excites you the most?
I think we've been a small, under-resourced team for a long time, and we figured out really good practices. And it's really how do you kind of grow that and scale that globally, and kind of come from where we've been extremely strong in U.S. North American companies, and then kind of from there, how do they expand globally? Really having a global platform, you know, again, like the vision that like we sat in that room and Anand shared is really simple. Like it's and Mike has heard me say this a billion times, but it's Office as an ecosystem, right? Like Yardi is already has a relationship with most of the major landlords in the world, and they're asking Yardi, the world is changing, office is changing, vacancy is growing. I have this, what do I do? How do I do it? How can you help? And I think the vision is office is not going anywhere long term. Will it get smaller per kind of company and per lease? Probably. But those spaces will be special. They will be more specialized. They will be built to better serve the people who use them and less wasteful. And then this ecosystem of fabulous places to work, including sometimes your home and outside of your home, that's the vision is like, how do you offer a workspace to everybody anywhere and really support them in that need? And I just think Yardi really has a really phenomenal shot at helping kind of bring this all together. And I am personally like, and our team is so excited to get to play our little part of that.
Yeah, I'll add to that. And I think we both said this. I think I said this in my first meeting with Anat, and you mentioned it when we had dinner earlier this week, that like Yardi is really holding all of the cards to like hopefully solve this problem. And that's always, it sounds a bit reductive. Like they've built those cards over decades and they've really like earned them through strong customer relationships. But like the pieces are there because if you think back a couple of years and what Yardi was doing, if one of our landlord customers that we had for decades says like, I'm really struggling to help, really speak technologically to the tenants and their employees in my building, and I don't really know how to like connect them to the spaces that they want as appetites change. We didn't have the pieces there to like solve those kind of challenges. And like there's a very intentional strategy here that's like moving in a direction that we can all see, that like we need to get those building blocks together. So whether it's a landlord saying like, I'm just not nailing my relationship with my tenant for XYZ reasons, or it's someone off the street that says like, I just can't really engage with what I want in an on-demand manner. Like we can start to answer and deliver them a solution that meets that need. But like, as we all know, like it's a slow moving beast, office real estate. So like it's taking time, but again, it's like a really intentional direction that we're taking. And I think DeskPass is a really big part of that, bridging kind of like two personas that we really haven't been able to connect in a meaningful way.
Love that. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining us. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for going behind the scenes and for celebrating with us, Sammy and Will. It's been great to have you here. I do want to throw one last question just to see the reaction, because I don't think you can actually answer it, but how long until you guys acquire the Instant Group? That's what I was looking for.
I'll leave that one to Will.
It's like, what if I turn my camera around and I'm in like sitting in DC and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I will say that like, again, like there's that side of the business of like brokerage, like not our DNA. And I'm sure, Sam, you've had questions around like, do we broker deals in the past? Like, I think that's one of the big outstanding questions of this industry. So I know if there's a good answer to that, you let us know.
Boy, have we ever, Sam. Boy, have we ever. I've lost track of how many times we're selling an on-demand workspace solution and someone goes, that's great, can't you just give me a private office? Well, I can. Which partner would you like to talk to?
But like, to be like a little serious, like I know Yardi really wants to work with IWG and all the operators, there is the pie make the pie bigger, and I think like don't worry about the size of your slice. So like if there's opportunity there, then I'm sure that it will manifest at some point. But you guys, thank you guys for everything you do. Like I've really enjoyed this podcast, and I really enjoy the newsletter. And if the beginning of 2025 is any indication to the rest of 2025, I think your guys, analysis and just keeping people in touch is going to be as critical as ever. So I love this. Keep doing the good work, and thanks for spending some time with us.
Well, yeah,
Absolute
no,
pleasure.
the pleasure is all ours. One last fun fact, I think, that we have a lot to congratulate you on, but I think, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, another little factoid, is this your first actual job where you're not like...
I never had one of these before.
Ever!
It is.
That's great.
Yeah, it's wild.
Well, that's really awesome. No, I didn't want to call you out there, but I think it's remarkable because you've had such a cool career trajectory. But to see where you are now, it's pretty nifty. So thanks for letting us chat with you about that.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.